making a game, conflict is fundamental. You need to add a force that somehow pushes players away from their goals. One way you can do that is creating hazards, which are objects with predictable behaviors that deal damage to players. So in this video, I'm going to show you how you can create a bomb that will deal damage to players once players get close to it. But before we get started, I want to say that this video is sponsored by the Godot Platform Essentials Jam. Create a platforming game within a weekend to compete for up to 20% of a prize pool that increases with every new sales that we do to the Platform Essentials Cookbook. And to help you get started in this game jam, we are making a free chapter available, which is the chapter that we are going to use to build the bomb that I'm going to show you in this very video. So if you want to know how you can create the hit and hurt boxes that we are going to use, you can check out the link in the description to join the game jam and get access to this amazing chapter, which is going to show you how you can create hit and hurt boxes. Right down here, you have all the code available, so you can basically copy and paste it. And this chapter is only going to be available during the game jam, so you can duplicate it to your Notion workspace, but after the game jam ends, you're not going to have access to it anymore. So don't miss the chance to get this amazing educational content. But that said, let's get started. So after you import the hazard 2D to your project, start by creating a new scene using a Node 2D. I like to use the Node 2D for most of my 2D scenes because this allows me to think in more abstract terms. So we are going to use the rigid body and the hit area 2D, which is an area 2D, and most people use the rigid body as the root node, but I don't like that because from my perspective, the bomb is not a rigid body 2D. The bomb has a rigid body 2D. So the bomb is an abstract entity that has a body with physics-based simulation movement. The bomb 2D has an area 2D that detects once the player's hurt box 2D or the hurt area 2D enters within its collision shape. So I don't like to think that the bomb is a hit area 2D, the bomb is a rigid body. No, I like to think in more abstract terms. So the bomb has a rigid body 2D, okay? So that said, I'm going to rename this to bomb 2D, and I'm going to add a new animated sprite here. And for the graphics, we are going to use the Pixel Frog King and Pig asset pack. So if you want to download it, I'm going to put the link in the description as well. But after that, we are going to create a new sprite frames. And for the sprite frames, we are going to import some animations here. So I'm going to rename this as on, off, and there is a boom animation as well, if I'm not mistaken. And Pixel Frog states in the in the landing page of this asset pack that the asset pack is made with 10 FPS in mind. So I'm going to change the FPS here to 10 and also this one to 10 as well. And only the on animation is going to loop. So I'm going to toggle off the looping on the off and the boom animations. And what I'm going to do now is to add the animation frames. So for that, we're going to use this add frames from sprite sheet button here. So I'm going to assets, kings and pigs, and there we have the bomb. And well, for the off animation, we only have this sprite, so there is nothing much to do here. So I'm going to decrease the vertical and horizontal slices to 1. So I'm going to add this one. For the on animation, I'm going to import this bomb on here. And as we can see, there are no vertical slices and there are 4 horizontal slices. So I'm going to select all of these. And for the boom animation, I'm going to do the same. I'm going to select the boom animation right here and no vertical. And there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 horizontal frames. So there we have it. And I'm going to add them. So basically, there we have it. We have all the animations imported. I'm going to increase the size of this animated sprite. So I'm going to transform the scale to 4 so it matches the overall scale of my game, of my project. So there we have, these are the sprites animations that we have. And the next thing that I'm going to do is to create a rigid body to simulate the movement of this bomb. So it's going to roll on the ground until we can basically detect the player, and then it's going to freeze and then explode. So for that, I'm going to add a new rigid body, and I'm going to offset this because it doesn't seem like it's centered. So I'm going to offset this on the y-axis right about here. Yeah, I think that this is good. And I'm going to add a new collision shape to this rigid body. So collision shape, new circle to dip. And I think that this is fine. Yeah, I think that this is good. And the next thing that I'm going to do is to add a remote transform, because this will allow me to do some interesting tricks, as you're going to see. So I'm going to also create a new animated sprite 2D to create the VFX that is going to show boom. It's like a balloon that is going to display boom. So I'm going to add animated sprite, new sprite frames, and let's edit this sprite frame. So I'm going to add this in and out. Again, I'm going to change the FPS, the frames per second, to 10, disable the looping. Since we are going to use the animation player, we don't actually need to change this FPS, but it's a good practice to maintain everything as the author, as the creator of the asset intended, right? So for the out animation, I'm going to look for this boom effect. Here in dialog boxes, we have the boom right about here. So we have this boom in, so boom out in this case. And since we only have 2, I'm going to decrease the vertical and 2 here. So add. And for the in, I'm going to do the same, but well, of course, using the boom in animation. In this case, we have 3 horizontal sprites. So I'm going to select all these 3. All these 3. And something that I'm going to do is specifically to the animated sprite, to the second one. Let's rename it to boom animated sprite, and this one to bomb animated sprite. Let's change all of these. Something that I'm going to do in this specific case is to add an empty frame before and after, so that it's basically hidden and we don't have to, well, tweak the visibility of this specific node. Actually, yeah, let's keep that way, so we can basically change the visibility if we need to. And again, I'm going to scale it up to 4. And to check up for this animation, we can play this. And yeah, I think that this is good. But something that we are going to change in this remote transform, this is for the bump animated sprite to this. So in this case, we can directly select it, and we are not going to change anything. But for the let me rename it bump animated or bump remote transform. But for the boom remote transform, we are going to disable the rotation and scale. Also, we need to do that to prevent the rescaling of this sprite, right? So let's see. Yeah, it rescaled it. So something that we are going to do now is to prevent that this remote transform is going to roll with the rigid body. So what we are going to do is to offset this boom animation as well, so it is more up here. So it's up there. So let's do this and move it right about here. So let's see if we play the animated explosion, how it will look like. So let's change the frame. Boom. Yeah, I think that we can move it a little bit to the left and upwards. So to the left here and upwards like this. So this is going to be the animation effect, right? So, well, with that, we can also create the hit area. So this hit area is going to be part of the recipe that I just shared with you. So you can press Ctrl+Shift+A to look for the hit area 2D. And the hit area 2D is going to deal some damage based on this area around the explosion here. So this is the complete area that's going to deal damage to players. I like to change the theme to neutral because I like to use the bomb to deal damage to enemies as well, so both to enemies and players. And I'm going to add a new collision shape using a circle 2D as well. And I like to change the debug color to color code my system. So in this case, this is the combat system, which I like to use pink. So let's increase this. Let me see something. I think that this is not the... Yeah, so let's use this frame for reference. And let's increase the collision shape size to match this. So right about here. And well, this is all the setup that we need to do. Oh, actually, we also need to add a new setup for the detection area, because this is the area that is going to deal damage, but we don't want to deal damage right when the player gets close to the bomb, right? We need to detect when the player is close. So first of all, let's disable the collision shape so we don't deal damage to players right when they get close. And what I'm going to add is the interactive area 2D here, because the interactive area 2D interacts with the player's interaction area 2D to detect when the players are close to an interactable object. In this case, I'm going to use a collision shape that's going to detect when the player is close to this bomb. So for the interaction system, I like to use green, so like this. And I'm going to use a rectangle shape 2D, because what this shape is going to do is to basically detect the vision area of the bomb. So when players get close to this bomb, it's going to detect it. So I'm going to increase to right about here. I think that this is fine. Yeah, I think that this is what I wanted. So let's reset the position. So yeah, the bomb is going to detect the player within this area, this collision shape right here, which is basically the same, right about the same radius as its hit area damage, right? So this the hit area collision shape radius, but instead we are going to use a rectangle shape here because I don't want the bomb to detect players below it. This is the reason why I'm not using a circle for the detection. So the next step is to add an animation player. The animation player is where we're going to actually design the behavior of this bomb. So we are going to start by creating a new on animation, actually the off animation. And for the off animation, we are basically going to just save the bomb animated sprite boom here, the animation, the animation name. So let's change back to animation. We're going to reset it to off and save the keyframe. And also you are going to create a reset track so that we always start with the off frame. And also let's save the frame to 0. And yeah, that's it. So for the on animation, let's also save the hit area 2D disabled, because during the off animation it's disabled. And let's save the interaction area 2D collision shape disable off as well. So like this. So this is the off animation. It's going to detect the player, but it's not going to deal damage to it. And in this specific case, it's not going to do anything else. So I'm going to also set this animation to, let's work with frames, right? So FPS, let's say 10. And I'm going to basically just use a single frame for all this setup. So right here, I'm going to say that this animation is only 1 frame long. And let's create a new animation that's going to be the on animation. But for this one, I'm going to change back to seconds. And here we are going to do some interesting stuff because we are going to disable the interactive area 2D collision shape. So we start by disabling it. No, we don't want to override the initial setup. And the next thing that we are going to do is to play the on animation for about 1 second. So if we go back here to the bomb animated sprite, if we play the animation here, you can see that is a quite quick animation, and we can use the animation length of this animation player to say how long the bomb will be triggered before it explodes. So in this case, we are going to loop this animation, and we can work with frames to do that, because otherwise we are going to have to repeat all these frames for as long as we want the bomb to be triggered. But instead we can basically call the play method in the bomb animated sprite to play this animation, looping it, and we can basically say for how long it can loop this animation, which is way more smart, right? So for that, we're going to create a new call method track on the bomb animated sprite, insert, and we are going to play an animation. So let's change that. We don't want to pass any other argument. We are basically just say play the on animation. And finally, let's create the boom animation. So boom, and here is where we're actually going to play the boom animated sprite here. So initially, let's set this visibility to off and create this reset track. And only here we are going to trigger it on, and we are going to add this in animation here. So right on frame 0. So 1, let's work with frames, right? So here we're going to work with frames, and on the second one we are going to increase, and then third one, and then we are going to change the animation. So let's save here that we are playing the in animation, and right here we are going to change to the all out animation, and then we play the 0 and 1 frame. And right here, we disable the visibility as well. So this is what we're going to do. Poof, boom. And then we are going to play the bomb animated, the bomb boom animation as well. So let's change this to boom. And let's increase this frames. So let's keyframe this first frame, and then increase to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then right here we are going to turn off the visibility of this animated sprite, just so it disappears as well. So at the beginning we are going to trigger it on, and I think that here on the reset track it also disabled it. So no, it's enabled. So going back to the boom, you can see that here we have we don't want to start dealing damage to players. We want to start to deal the damage to players on the second frame, this one where it actually explodes, right? So basically right here we are going to enable the hit area collision shape again. So here, and let's also ensure that the interactive area 2D is disabled. So like this, and at the beginning it's also disabled. The hit area collision shape is also disabled. So this is what we want. And after, I think that after this explosion effect ends right about, let's say right about here, I'm going to disable this the collision shape, the hitbox collision shape again. So after that, it's not going to deal damage to players. And right about here, we're going to call a method track to kill free the bomb, because there is no reason for it to be here, to be in memory anymore after it explodes. So kill free. So let's decrease the animation length to 6 frames, and that's it. So this is what's going to happen. So let's save this scene. So I'm going to save it on objects, and let's create a new bomb 2D here, and let's save it as bomb 2D. And to stitch everything together, we are going to use an animation tree. So let's create an animation tree node. And we are going to use as the advanced expression base node, the bomb node, so that we have direct access to everything under its hierarchy. So let's set this, because this is going to be important to set up what we are going to, the approach that we are going to use to create this behavior. So let's set the animation player, and we are going to use an animation state machine, and let's edit. So we have the reset animation, the off animation, then the on animation, and finally the boom animation. So we are going to start by playing the reset, then the off, then the on, and the boom, and then we are going to end the behavior. So what we are going to do here is to only move to from the reset to the off animation at the end, so we ensure that every setup is made, that the reset setup is made. And from the off to the on animation, what we are going to do is to create a new advanced expression using a conditional expression. So for that, what we are going to do is to do the following: get node. So here, copy node path, and let's close the quote marks. And then what we have now is access to some methods from the interactive area 2D. And what we're going to do basically is just get if there are any overlapping areas within it. So get overlapping areas dot size is greater than 0. This is basically going to return true or false. And this is going to be the transition from the off to the on animation. And from the on to the boom animation, we are basically going to set the switch modes to at end, and from the boom to the end animation, we're going to set it as end as well. And there we have it. This is all that we need to do to toggle this behavior. Oh, something that I forgot to do is to freeze the rigid body once we trigger the bump on. So let's go to the animation player, the on animation, and here in the deactivation category, we are going to freeze. So we are going to save the reset track to off, but right when we enter the on, right when we play the on animation, we are going to go it on. So that's it. And now let's make a scene to test this. So I'm going to create a new inherited scene based on my levels. So new inherited scene, I'm going to levels, where levels, and from level here, and there we have. So let's create a very quick environment, terrains. I'm going to use the brick, and let's create this right very quickly. So I like to use this tile instead, and let's create a wood tile as well. So something like this, and let's add some bricks right here, because we are going to add the bomb right about here. And well, let's create the bomb. So bomb 2D. I also have another bomb, but we are going to use this one, right? So this is it. Let's move it right about here. Save the scene. Test bomb test level. So bomb test level. Save. And let's play. Let's see if we can deal some damage to the player. So let's test this out. And if we try to get close to the bomb, it activates. You can see that something weird happened, right? It didn't play the whole on animation. So let's close this. And I think that this is because I forgot to set this animation tree to deterministic, and this is an important setting, so don't forget to do that if you want precise animations. This is especially important for 2D games. And if we try again and get close to the bomb, There we have it, it's playing nicely as expected. So that's it, this is a very versatile system. It allows you to create anything that deals damage to players like spikes, and if you want to add a decision making layer on top of this hazard recipe, you can create enemies for instance, but it also allows you to create anything that receives damage from players as well. So on the next video, we are going to create destructible objects. So if you're not subscribed to the channel yet, subscribe below and turn on the notifications so you don't miss the video. I'm going to create a lot of content to promote this game jam, so don't forget to join the game jam, the link will be in the description. And if you want to raise the prize pool, you can get the Platform Essentials cookbook, so you can check out the link in the description as well. The link to the Platform Essentials cookbook will be in the game jam as well, so you can purchase it. And on the page, you can try out, there is a demo, so you can try out some concrete implementations of the recipes. So let's try this switch one, which is basically an object, a pattern, a system that allows you to change an object behavior, to toggle an object state from another object. So I'm going to toggle the elevator by talking to this NPC. So this is a pretty cool one. Also, the bumping enemy is a very good one. So let's see the path follow platform. This is another great one. So yeah, there are a lot of concrete implementations, so you can try out every recipe. And if you want to know more about the book, you can read the description, you can see the chapters that we currently have and everything about it. So who is the book for, how you can use this book, and if you have any other question, any other doubt that you want to be answered, we have the frequent asked question session. And also you can basically go down here to make a comment, and as soon as I receive the notification about your question, I'm going to reply it right here on the very page of the cookbook. And also there is a free chapter as well to make moving characters. So the moving character is the basics for a platformer game, and by using the moving character and the hazard recipe, you are going to create an amazing entry for this game jam. But that's it, thank you so much for watching, don't forget to join the game, keep developing, and until the next one, see you there.